What's going on YouTube? Thanks for joining the channel. Today I'm on a Road Glide special. So I've been testing out a lot of Harleys this year, and first time on a Road Glide special for me. I've tested out a Road Glide Standard and the Road Glide ST, but I just wanted to see some of the little nuanced differences. You know, don't expect a technical review, but I'll try to throw up some stats when I can. But let's get this started. The starting price, I must say, is a big pill to swallow because it comes in at a dollar shy of $28,000, and that is just the starting price. If you want different paints and different options and whatnot, you know, that's going to cost you a little bit more. So all that to say, you know, you don't really make these decisions lightly. This is a bike that a lot of people will kind of end up with as their forever bike. This is the bike that, you know, you would want ideally for touring across the US. This is a bike that I have my sights on when I retire. So the Road Glide Special comes with the Milwaukee 114 engine, great motor, but this is an 850 pound frame. If you think you're going to get like really quick speeds, you're not going to get that. Of course, this 114 has a grunt to it, you know, does great work, but this is a touring bike. It is not, you know, a speed monster, obviously, although, you know, you could definitely make this into a performance bagger if you'd want to go that route. It also comes with, you know, this infotainment system, very legible, even though it's a little bit farther away from me than I'd like. Yeah, all the little amenities that you might want. There's like little pockets here on the left and right for, you know, additional storage if you want, speakers so that you can, you know, blast your radio or music while you're riding. The Road Glide also has a fairly low seat height. I think it comes in around like 26 or 27 inches. I want to be certain of that, so I'll throw it up on the screen. But because this is a wider bike, you know, I am sort of on my tippy toes, and I'm about 5'8", you know, 30-inch inseam. So just for short riders, you know, I think you can do it, but it's going to take some time to just kind of get used to it. So I have to admit, you know, this is an intimidating bike. It's 850 pounds. There's a lot of weight. I'm always kind of anxious about dropping this bike, you know, but once you get it out of the parking lot and into just regular, you know, streets, this is a pleasure. Super easy to ride, super easy to maneuver for an 850 pound machine. But yeah, the slow speed maneuvers, you just got to be really careful, and you got to be measured with your movements. No sudden movements. Make sure you're following all the safety protocols and whatnot, but you'll be fine. So yeah, I am sort of on my tippy toes here because this frame is just so wide. But because this is frame mounted, the fairing is frame mounted, the steering, the handlebars feel just really smooth. Feels really easy to maneuver. So that is one pro about the Road Glide versus the Street Glide. So yeah, like I mentioned, this is a heavy investment, but you know, there is nothing like the Road Glide. Let's talk about the ergonomics a little bit. I am in an upright seating position, and this is possibly, you know, one of the most comfortable bikes that Harley has. The Softail Heritage is also really comfortable, but nothing compared to the Road Glide. So yeah, the ergonomics feel really good. Yeah, the forward controls with the floorboards, and you can put your feet just about anywhere. Very, very comfortable. My arms are just kind of low and relaxed. I'm not hunched forward. I can just kind of lean back and cruise. So yeah, this is just a great riding position, and I'm coming in at 5'8". And I think no matter what your size is, you know, the Road Glide can really suit you. Let's talk about, you know, the performance. This is not really a performance machine per se. It does have the Milwaukee 8, like I mentioned, so you're getting about, I think, 120 foot-pounds of torque, somewhere between 90 to 100 horsepower. So it's enough to scoot this bike around on the highways, the city streets and whatnot. Most likely, you know, if you're thinking about a bagger, you're not really looking for performance right out of the gate. You kind of know what you're getting, which is, this is just an incredibly comfortable ride, smooth, and you can just ride for hours because of this fairing, and, you know, you got the radio, you got navigation, and there's really nothing else that you would want. And I'm doing like these little typical mini S's that I do on my test rides, and, you know, it just feels so smooth. Like, you would not believe that this is an 850 pound bike doing this kind of stuff. On these little roads, man, this bike is a joy. Nice little corner here. Feels good. Yeah, the gearing, the shifting, it all feels really, really good. and the acceleration is just very smooth. And you know, it's got a nice kick. You know, it's got that punch, it's got that torque. And on these twisties, you wouldn't think so, but man, this Road Glide just dances on its feet. So even on the back roads, this bike is extremely enjoyable. I have a friend that I know that he loves riding the back roads on his Road Glide, and I was like, why wouldn't you want something smaller for the back roads? And I get it. You know, this bike, even though it's 850 pounds wet, it does handle itself really nicely. Like, it just dips, and the overall ride is just incredibly smooth. Yeah, this is like the ultimate touring machine to me. Other thing that I just wanted to talk about is just the styling of the Road Glide. This is one of the bikes that's up there for me in terms of design, aesthetics. You know, the lines, everything feels really well thought out. Nothing feels clunky or out of place. Everything feels symmetrical. The design on the Road Glide, I just love it. The symmetry is something that I really just like on just about anything, right? And you have in the center, you have this, you know, beautiful infotainment system. On the left and right, you got some gauges here. I think one of the great things about Harley-Davidson is that they produce so many of these bikes for so many years that they really have a lot of time to refine their designs and all the other little things and make their bikes better. So one thing that I do really like about this bagger, about the Road Glide Special, is just how smooth the RPM ranges feel. Nothing feels like it's struggling. Like, all throughout the RPM, it just feels still really smooth. There's no glitchiness. Yeah, that feels really nice. Man, this bike still has a little bit of pickup for being such a heavy bike. Yeah, the one thing I'm appreciating about this Road Glide Special, like I mentioned, is just how smooth it feels all throughout the RPM range. There's no like kickback, there's no, you know, jumpiness. It just feels very linear and smooth all the way through. Combined with, you know, the agility of the Road Glide, this is just an incredibly comfortable ride. I love how the power is just available all throughout the RPM range, and it's very linear, so it's very predictable. It's very friendly in that sense. Is this worth the price tag? It's hard for me to say. You know, I think that's a individual choice. There's obviously a lot more affordable baggers out there, but you know, when you're thinking about time-tested baggers with such a classic design and yeah, just how smooth this feels, you know, it's hard to go wrong with the Road Glide. So I can see why people commit to this bike as their long-term bike, as kind of like their, you know, their forever bike. You don't really need much else when you have a Road Glide. So I know that I mentioned, you know, at the beginning of this ride I was kind of nervous, but you know, within the 25 minutes or so of demoing this bike, a lot of those nerves have kind of simmered down because of how, you know, just confident this bike makes me feel. You know, it's still a heavy bike. Yeah, it's still a little nerve-wracking when I pull up at stoplights. I'm just not quite used to this size and weight of this bike yet. It's going to take some time to get used to any bike, really. And the same is true of these baggers. But yeah, I keep thinking over and over in my head, if it was time for me to get into a more, you know, distance or touring focused motorcycle, would the Road Glide be, you know, up there in contention? Of course it would be, but just in terms of price, man, it's really hard for me to swallow that price point.
The price is certainly a big deterrent, but for many people, it's well worth the price. Many would argue the Road Glide is the best looking bagger / touring motorcycle, and the customization options is just endless in case you want your motorcycle to stand out. For me, even though the Road Glide is tempting, I'd consider some other options. The Indian Challenger, for example, really caught me by surprise and might be my choice for a first bagger, but I'm a long ways from having to make that decision. But if you've got the cash and you're looking at the Road Glide, I wouldn't fault you for making that jump. The Road Glide checks a lot of boxes in what you'd want in a touring machine and delivers such an incredible feeling. And I'd even go out on a limb to say no motorcycle quite has that cachet like the Road Glide has. That's my 2 cents anyways. Well, that's it for me today. Hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, peace.